Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see about ancient Tamil people's food habits. In Tinai Varviyal, we are seeing about the different lifestyles of ancient Tamil people, and now we shall see about the food habits. Ancient Tamil people lived in groups, and their main time was spent mostly in searching for food, and they lived along with nature, and they learned many things from the animals, particularly about how to gather foods. That is, they'll follow the animals on where they are going, and that helped them to find places where there were a lot of fruits, vegetables and roots which will give them food. And because they were in group, it was the duty of the main people to provide food for everyone in the group, and therefore they spent most of the time in finding the food. And the main food were roots, vegetables and fruits. And because that was not enough, they started hunting animals, and they were having the meat. And in those days they did not know how to create fire, so they used to have raw meat, or they used to have the meat of the animals which were burnt in the forest fire. And later on they knew how to use land and started agriculture, and therefore they started doing agriculture, and mostly they depended on rain for irrigation, and those who were near the river banks, they used the river water for agriculture. Rice was the staple food, and they used pudungalarsi, that is parboiled rice, and they knew how to cook the rice also later on, and started eating it. And they also had varagu and same as their food, and they had different types of paddy, and along with rice they had vegetables, and these vegetables were tempered with mustard, and they added pepper and tamarind and salt to add taste to it. And mangoes, they took the pulp out of it, and they made it to ferment, and they had that also. And not only the mangoes, they had kalapada puli, todari puli and navarpada puli as food. And komatti madalakai, they used to add pepper in it, and they added curry leaves, and tossed it in butter and had it. And they made pickles out of vadumangai. They had palapalam, ilanir, vaழைப்பழம், நுங்கு, சேம்பிளைக்கறி, வள்ளிக்கிழங்கு, சுட்ட பனங்கிழங்கு as their food. And they also had stale rice, that is, they'll cook the rice and they'll have it the next day, which is they'll soak that rice in water and have it the next day, which is called as padanzoram. And they also had arisi, kollu paruppu and paitam paruppu. They used to cook it in milk, and they used to drink it like porridge, that is kanji. And they made flour, that is wet flour. They fermented it, and they used it to make paniyarams. And the hunters loved to eat pulichoru, that is tamarind rice. And ancient Tamil people ate puliyangai and nellikai, that is tamarind and gooseberries. And they used to soak it in salt and make gadi, that is almost like a pickle, and they used to eat it. And from milk they made butter, and from butter they made ghee. They knew how to make all this, and this they added in water in their food, and they had. And eating meat was prevalent among everyone. Even Brahmins were said to have meat, and many references are there and evidences are there that they also had meat in those days. வெள்ளாடு, செம்மறியாடு, மான், முயல், ஆமா, மீன் வகைகள், நண்டு, ஈயல், கோழி, காட்டுக்கோழி, காடை, உடும்பு, all these were eaten, the meat were eaten. And rice and milk were cooked together, and they had it. And this unsoru, that is meat rice only, is today called as pulavu or pulal. And after Muslims came and settled in Tamil Nadu, this became prevalent because their main food was non-vegetarian. And this meat was cooked in ghee and buttermilk. In buttermilk they used to put the TL, and they used to eat it, make it as puli curry, and they used to eat it. And they used to pound the rice, and they used to give it to the male pig to make it very fat, because that they needed to take that meat. And those pigs which were grazed only for eating purposes were not allowed to be with the female, were not allowed to mate with the female pigs. And after they grew nice fat, their meat was eaten. And they used meat, and they made uppukandam. Uppukandam is where you add salt and dry it in the sun, and they used to have a iron rod in which they will put these dried meat and they will heat it in fire, and they used to eat it like how we make tandoori items and tikka items. And they had the habit of drinking alcohol. This was prevalent between the Mannar, Panar, Pulavar, Koothar, Perunar, Viraliyar. All these people used to drink milk, and they made different types of alcohols like Panankal, Tennankal, Eachankal, and even from rice, and they used to make it as a gadi, that is they used to ferment this rice, and this fermented rice was also made into alcohol. And Yavanargal brought through ships this type of alcohol which they loved and to drink. And they understood that if this alcohol is kept and fermented for a long time, then it had more effect on them. And therefore, to increase the effect of the alcohol, they filled these alcohol in glass jars and in bamboo pipes, and they kept it under the ground, and this helped to increase the strength of the alcohol. And many poets have said that such a alcohol was equal to the bite, the sting of a snake, and the poison of the scorpion. And in order to increase the taste and the fragrance of this alcohol, they did many things. And along with this, they wanted something which was fermented, so they had palapadam, todari padam, naval padam, and these were eaten along with the alcohol. And they filtered this alcohol with panai and tennai pannade, and they had jars which had two-sided handles, and they were made out of wood. And this type of jars were brought by the foreigners, that is Yavanargal, from abroad, and this Tamil people used to drink, and we have a lot of evidence for that. Particularly, we have got these evidences from the excavations done in Arikamedu. And these type of alcohols were causing a lot of harm, and it was not good for them. And therefore, ancient Tamil literary books, we find that the people have written that this habit should be prohibited and avoided, which is not very good for the society, particularly for the individuals and their family. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.